I connect with animals better than humans, and she had a rescue dog. I got along with the rescue dog right away. That's what, if you connect with someone's dog, because I've always identified more as a rescue dog, you know, like I feel like I don't like loud noises, fireworks, I'll run away for a little bit, you know, like I have bitten a few people in my life, so when you bring me around your friends, you got to be like, hey, he's rough around the edges, but he's a good boy. Like, I scratch him on the belly, not behind the ears. So, like, when I hung out with her for the first time, her dog was there, and I was like, hey, can I play with him? And she's like, he doesn't always love his toys. But I was like, so I got down on the floor, and I took a water bottle, and I put a sock over it, and I threw it at him. And he went nuts. He started playing with it. He loved it, and then started playing with his other toys. She's like, how'd you know? I'm like, that's what my grandma used to do with me.
Good day, friend, and welcome to the dark side of the autistic community. Well, today we actually have a video that's just fairly high-spirited. One of the problems that I find with autism comedy is either that it's not very funny, or that it borders on offensive based on misinformation that the general public has got. From Asperger's to Autism, Dan LaMorte stand-up comedy. I will put a link to the video down in the description if you want to go like it and subscribe and do all of that lovely stuff. But hopefully it's going to be good. Seen a few clips of him and seems quite funny. So let's go for it. The dark side of the moon. Yes, indeed.
I'm weird. Get used to it now. I've been weird my whole life. It's not about to change. No. Weird is an odd thing. It's not something people become accustomed to. I get into fights quite often just because of who I am. The exterminator was at my apartment the other day, and he's like, hey, buddy, call me if the ants come back. And I'm like, fuck you. I would call a different exterminator.
I believe that what they're referring to is PDA, pathological demand avoidance, or persistent drive for autonomy, as some people have reframed it.
And he got mad at me, but I'm like, think about it, I'm right. Yeah. I'm honest and literal, and those aren't necessarily qualities people like, but I've always been weird, right? There was a word for it growing up. It's not the word anymore, but it was Asperger's. That word has shifted. That's offensive. White women with purple hair will call me names for saying it, but it's weird
Jesus.
to have a thing that's not a thing anymore, right? Like, I've had the same therapist since I was younger, and I'll never forget when she called me into her office. I was much younger. She goes, hey, Dan, just so you know, Asperger's is now mild autism. And I'm like, whoa, slow down a little bit. That's a big...
I mean, it's not mild autism. Like, I'm pretty sure that even that terminology would get people riled up. No, it is not. This is ASD 1, 2, and 3. Technically, sort of scientific. I think the best way to approach the terminology, if you haven't, if you don't know, or perhaps, you know, you're sort of new to the autistic community, is to say relatively higher or relatively lower support needs. I think that's generally the best way to go about it, because, I mean, I don't know, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The whole ASD thing. Like, it's kind of, a lot of people were sort of campaigning or talking a lot about changing Asperger's to autism, you know, sort of getting rid of that label. And a lot of people don't like the idea of functioning labels, yet they have given us a 1 to 3 scale of autism. It definitely gives a lot of people the wrong impression, that is for sure. I'm not sure, like, how many people are happy with that. I think they've sort of replaced something with something that people don't like with something that's not necessarily the best way of going about it.
A big shift. My thing is, I've hated change my whole life, and you think this is the one. Can we meet in the middle? But no, I didn't mind that. That one was, I got used to that. Mild, that's not the word anymore either, but that was nice.
Oh, there you go.
You sounded like a human in a little bit of a wing sauce, you know? Like, hey, I want mango habanero Dan. I enjoy it.
Spicy autism.
They switched that. Now it's autism level 1, which no matter how many times you ask your therapist, you can't make it to the next level. It's not. You are the one that you're given. There's no final boss Rubik's Cube I could beat. It's...
No, you've got to you've got to take your COVID vaccinations to get a level up. You know, have you seen that going around? I think a lot of people are making those jokes within the autistic community. Obviously, they're a comedian, and they're going to make jokes at expense for some people. And the thing is, I don't get offended by stuff. And I might give that impression from like the things that I talk about, perhaps, or like the criticisms that I make, but it never really gives like a strong feeling of anger. Like there are some videos out there which do hit me a little bit emotionally, but those tend to be like videos that are quite sort of aggressive, pretty like lot of misinformation, sort of putting down, making fun of autistic people. Those tend to be the things that really get me. But generally, like jokes of any kind, even words that people in the community don't upset me. Like I will call it out and I will talk about it, but it doesn't produce like that sort of emptying of blood in your head, sort of like tingly reaction that you get when someone says something that's a bit on the nose, Thomas, you come across as sensitive and compassionate, but not really easily offended. It is true. You feel the same way, Kyle? Wait, what is Figgy saying? I'm drinking Tango Dark Berry. Interesting. I had a Fanta Tropical Twist earlier. It was quite delicious after emptying my water supplies for 2 hours at Muay Thai.
But no, I don't mind the word, right? I was fine with Asperger's. I don't mind autism. It's just I'm from Jersey. There's a small perception of mental health there.
They don't really bother
if
me.
I say I'm autistic, what do people say? You don't look autistic. And it's like, yeah, I'm not chewing Legos, man. Like, I'm not going to break down this whole condition for you if that's how you're opening. But I stand up for my people when I can, because certain things, when verbiage changes quickly, some people get looked over. Like one of the Pride organizations recently put out a new Pride flag that had the autism logo on it. And some of us were like, whoa, how did you get us on your team? Like, we don't mind what you're doing, but...
No, I get that to a certain degree, because I've always been and very much am like supportive of the LGBT community. I don't know the most about it, and sometimes I might mess up on the terminology and stuff. I'm not like a sort of an active like speaker about it online, because I feel like other people should get the voice and sort of the exposure, because they know a lot more about it. But yeah, it does kind of surprise me to a certain extent. But I mean, I don't know if he knows, but there is a heavy crossover between the two communities, and I think we've always had an aspect of the rainbow within the neurodiversity symbol anyway. Yeah, I think one of the problems is with the terminology change is that because there's been, autism advocacy has not just been like in the last 10 years, it's been like quite a growing thing for some time. Some people in the mainstream have understood, obviously from the DSM, that autistic people, that there are autistic people and there are people with Asperger's, and they're like two separate things. And for a lot of people, it gives them at least at the least an ability to ask what that is, and you can tell them, or at the most just like an actual insight into what that can be like for people. Whereas nowadays, I find if I do say that I'm autistic, I prefer saying that I'm autistic, but when I say that, it's more likely to receive negative or questioning like sort of reactions in people, It's not really an issue, it's not really a problem, but just generally it kind of makes things a bit harder.
But how didn't we get our own flag? If there's ever a group that likes a flag, it's us.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
Also, we're not the same. Like, you do you, but I'm counting things. I'm not sucking dicks. I'm not homophobic. If you need dicks counted, call me up, Thank you. I'll count every cock in this room, I'll line you up in size order.
I'm not very good at counting.
We'd be an easy group to make a flag for, quite honestly. Put a T-Rex or a train on a banner, most of us will be happy. Yeah, dude, it's not all bad at all. New York actually is one of the few states that tried to pass a law where autistic people got their own licenses. It was the same as yours, it was just shaped like a dinosaur. It just didn't fit in the wallet,
God damn it.
My ID is extinct. That was one of the slowest laughs off to the right, thank you. Nah, dude, I live a good life. I'm getting married in 4 months about. Yeah. Thank you. You're all invited. Next season, Love on the Spectrum, you'll be there. Just kidding. I bagged the normie. I got one.
Bagged one of the
excited to get married. I got along well with her because of who I am. I connect with animals better than humans, and she had a rescue dog. I got along with the rescue dog right away. That's what, if you connect with someone's dog, because I've always identified more as a rescue dog. You know, like I feel like I don't like loud noises, fireworks. I'll run away for a little bit. You know, like I have bitten a few people in my life, so when you bring me around your friends, you got to be like, hey, he's rough around the edges, but he's a good boy. Like I scratch him on the belly, not behind the ears. So like when I hung out with her for the first time, her dog was there, and I was like, hey, can I play with him? And she's like, he doesn't always love his toys. But I was like, so I got down on the floor and I took a water bottle and I put a sock over it and I threw it at him. And he went nuts. He started playing with it. He loved it. And then started playing with his other toys. She's like, how'd you know? I'm like, that's what my grandma used to do with me.
Oh my god, god damn it. I remember what I was going to talk about. And it's a weird sort of concept to wrap your head around, but for a lot of us, we can find neurotypical sort of general neurotypical communication a lot harder. It can take us long time to sort of understand sort of the indirectness. We can do it, of course, but it's interesting that a lot of the traits that people point out as being bad are actually things that a lot of top like psychologists and like relationship and friendship coaches talk about being good, like being honest, being direct and truthful. You know, it's a bit of a weird thing for us to be considered to have like a social deficit, whereas like the world's experts are like trying to make people be more honest and direct. It's an interesting one. I don't know what you guys think about that one.
Sock water bottle is a big thing. I mean, she would put nickels in it, so it was a little more entertaining, but I didn't want to give the dog a nickel. We're young to get married, so we're in our 20s. I didn't age necessarily the best way. Someone made a noise on that. Thank you. I know. I look like I grew up in a lighthouse. It's tough. It's a specific reference. I love lighthouses. I was in Rhode Island doing stand-up. I visited a lighthouse. A man walked up next to me. He's like, hey, what year was it built? I was like, 1967. I'm okay with those things, you know? And then he's like, what type of light bulb do you guys got up there? And I was like, shit. You think I'm the guy? You think I live alone by the water? But see, I have reasons for the way I'm 29. When I was 23 and a half, I weighed 354 pounds. So like when you lose that much weight, your body it goes through a drastic shift. So like, genuinely no like silly joke coming. 354 is my heaviest weight. When I was 23, I was almost killed by a drunk driver driving home from a show. Don't worry, it's not sad. I crashed into him and he was drunk. It was the luckiest I've ever been. But that was my second chance.
Let us have a look at some of the comments, because I feel like I'm not interacting with you guys very much. I don't know if he's funny or maybe I don't get his jokes. I think some of his jokes are quite funny, that's for sure. The thing is, my sense of humor is really on the nose. Like, I find offensive jokes really funny. I don't know why. I think any good joke to some degree produces a little bit of anticipation, you know. And if someone's talking about something that like upsets people, there is always going to be a building of anticipation. It's also quite funny when people talk about like sexual related things as well. I found, like, because that obviously builds a sense of anticipation, especially if people are like attending a comedy show with like the parents or like a friend or something like that. I don't know. First date. It's more people make it political. Oh, you're talking about sort of the LGBT stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've always viewed it as like, because I very much care about like the individuals. I'm not one for group related things. I do talk about autism and I do talk about the autistic community. It's because I'm sort of I'm active within that community, and it just works, and it helps me sort of network with other people. But I mostly care about the individual and like their rights and freedoms and sort of you know, how do you say, sort of self-autonomy, you know, making sure that they're not targeted badly in a lot of ways, you know. That's what's important to me. I have people, a lot of people sort of in my circle and even close circle who, you know, they are LGBT, and not all of them are very sort of open and, like, you know, feel comfortable with it, you know, and so it makes me sad, that kind of stuff, and I want people to feel comfortable being themselves, you know. I think he's funny, but he also has great rhythm and flow. Yes, yeah. Even weaker punchlines get carried along. I think that's what I mean. Like, I do enjoy the craft and the timing and things of that nature. And it's quite interesting to watch, like, an autistic comedian, because obviously their body language is a lot different to, like, a lot of the comedians that I've seen. It's very relatable, of course, but I mean, he's autistic, isn't he?
Second chance on life, you know, sponsored by Geico, of course. It was actually his fault. He parked his car in the middle of the highway and fell asleep. But, like, I spruced it up a little bit. The funniest thing he did was he got out of the car and he had a pill bottle and he went to throw it into the woods, but he just spiked it right into the ground. And the pills, I'm like, it's a crime scene now, watch out. But that was my second car accident in the span of 3 months, so I kind of used that as the second chance on life. And the doctor kind of kicked me in the ass. You know, he walked into the room. He's like, son, you broke both your feet. You have a head injury and a fatty liver. And I'm like, that last one was personal. I've had a fatty liver, dude. I didn't just get this. The airbag didn't hit me and make my liver fat. Like, he's like, you've been diagnosed? I'm like, I'm 354. You think I'm just, like, my liver's not sneaking out and going to Planet Fitness? There's 3 rolls of fat on my neck. The liver is compromised, doc. I loved losing weight, man. I did it myself before the Ozempic came along. I had no idea how easy it was going to get. I did it through
Props.
running. I'm a crazy long distance runner, so I run, like, ultra marathons. Those are races longer than marathons. Don't worry, I'm not like a good athlete. I do 2 a year on mushrooms. Everything else is stoned. That's how I lost all the weight. It's so funny. People be like, how'd you lose the weight? I'm like, running. They go, that's so boring. Not how I'm doing it.
I don't think that would be the most fun. I think the reason why I don't want to go running and biking is that I like to shut my brain off when I'm exercising to a certain degree. I mean, combat sports, Muay Thai and Taekwondo, it's a little bit different, but generally, like, if I'm doing some type of cardio, I just want to shut my brain off. And I can't really do that because I've got to look where I'm going, and I've got to make sure not to hit people, you know. Not like hit people, but just run into them or something. Carmack says, I relate to the comedian with the weight loss. I'm down 31 pounds since July and still going. Congratulations, my friends. Yeah, I didn't really get the liver joke, to be honest. Not too sure.
We're alone in those woods. I've run with dinosaurs. Do you know how fun that is for me? Classifying each one. Nah, genuinely, that I just ran, lost the weight.
I bet he does have a real big interest
heavy, but, like,
in dinosaurs.
Your friends treat you differently for sure. They'll tell you how fat they thought you were, but only after you lost the weight. And they'll do it in very tongue-in-cheek ways. Like, I was talking to my buddy about the Pizza Hut buffet. I don't know if anyone grew up with that. There was a time Pizza Hut had a buffet. You paid them a small amount of money, and you could sit there pretty much the whole day. And they had a salad bar at the Pizza Hut buffet. And at the salad bar, they had 2 jugs of vanilla pudding. I told that to my buddy, and he's like, are you sure it just wasn't ranch dressing? And I was like, how fat do you think I was, man? That I was just sitting down with a bowl of ranch, like, oh, this is some good pudding, huh? They put parsley in pudding now. Who knew?
I've experienced that as well. I mean, I didn't gain, like, a ton of weight, but I was quite overweight. As I said, I was about 140. I'm about 90 to 100 kilos at the moment. And I received a lot of sort of backhanded compliments from people saying, like, oh, you're looking good. I can't see your belly anymore, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever make those types of comments, to be honest. I feel the risk, even if people are laughing with you, the risk of, like, actually damaging their self-esteem and making them feel awful is quite high. So I generally try not to make jokes on people's appearance. Run is a way to disconnect, indeed. Yeah, I feel the same.
Car accidents sprung the weight loss forward, man. I'm very thankful for it. I do. It's weird, though. After shows, people could be so cruel. Like the amount of people who come up to me and they'll be like, I don't believe that you were 354 pounds. I don't believe that you're autistic. And it's like, what do you want me to pull my stamp collection out from underneath my extra skin? I mean, I still, like, the car accidents didn't throw me off. I still love driving, man. I live in Jersey, so I'll take my car home. It's my safe space because you could charge your phone in the car. I love that because it's like a free game in life, you know, when you drop the phone down the car seat and it's still plugged into the charger. Because you slowly want to pull the phone up. You don't want to lose it underneath the seat. It's one of those free games in life, like a tangled headphone. Some of you hate it. When you tangle your headphone, hand it to your buddy with Asperger's. It's a free puzzle.
Oh, no, I hate doing that. I think the interesting sort of thing with this is like, maybe like to a certain extent, he's like speaking truth on some things, like when he's talking about like interest in dinosaurs and stamp collections and stuff. I feel like that is something that a lot of autistic people like. I don't like either of those, really. I did have a fascination with an arcade game called Dinosaur King, mostly because it gave me a card every time I put a little pound into it, and I liked that. I felt like I was achieving something by gaining something that I could swipe. It was a really cool arcade game. But I don't know what you guys think. I was fairly thin until menopause. I was underweight. I would say that I was probably underweight for a lot of my teenagehood, especially when I started competing in Taekwondo. It was only when I started my sedative medication, metazapine, that my appetite just kicked into high gears. Because I stopped Taekwondo because I got a knee injury, and then I was on metazapine, which boosts your appetite, and I was like, God damn it. And it comes on so slowly that you just can't tell, you know? And then you're like, do I look different? Who knows? It's hard to tell sometimes.
That phone drops down the car seat. I have a weird sense of humor. I pretend the phone is a Chilean miner, you know? I need to save it. I'm like, hold on, Carlos, hold on. I'm gonna get you out of that cave, buddy. Carlos sounds offensive, but when those 33 miners got stuck underground in Chile, 3 were named Carlos. That's funny enough to think about it. Like, not funny for the Carloses. They all lived, but a tough day for them. More so funny for the wives, right? Because it was a small rescue operation. 1 man at a time coming up. They're like, who's coming up? Carlos. They're like, which one, you idiot? There's 3 of you. What color is your thermos?
I don't think I get this one.
Verde! You know? I tell that whole story to tell one man story. One of the miners, his name was Yanni. He was not Carlos. You could Google this after the show. Yanni was one of the 33 Chilean miners. He got caught cheating while he was stuck in the hole. Because his wife and his mistress showed up. And they were like, I'm here for Yanni. No, I'm here for Yanni. If only he was Carlos. Thank you, guys. I'm Dan LaMorte. Have a good one.
I didn't perhaps get the Carlos thing. I think one of the issues of watching like comedians from different countries, I think that they're American. I can't tell these days. Accents just blend into one unless they're particularly exotic or strong. I think it's American, probably. Yeah, some of the references like just get lost on me, and so the joke doesn't really sort of land because I don't know what they're talking about. 6 out of 10 funny. Yeah, I don't think it was. I think the clips that I've seen have been a lot better. This is a short clip, I guess, and I've never heard of Dan LaMorte before, so maybe there will be some new stuff coming out from them. Hello, Carlos Valencia. You're in the chat. No way. Oh. I've seen some autistic comedians that are just like I would find that I would just smile, you know, just to make sure that if they looked at me, it looked like I was sort of enjoying it, that kind of thing, you know. But I did not find any of the autism jokes very funny. I imagine that due to the nature of sort of comedy and things like that they're aiming jokes very widely, you know. And there's perhaps more, well, I mean, there is more neurotypical people out there, or holistic individuals, and so I imagine that it's geared based on mainstream perceptions of autism. Here I'm going, like, trying to explain jokes. God damn it. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I would see some more stuff from them.